Now, we've heard from the school officials, and they brought up very good points. As we said, there's one situation where a level 3 convicted sex offender who sexually assaulted a 6-year-old child is across the street from an elementary school. That is frightening, and it's unacceptable. But the other reason we're here is, and Bob Vecchio brought this up, and that is the oversaturation problem as well. In 2011, we passed Correction Law Section 203, as I said, as part of the budget. Correction Law Section 203 says the commissioner shall, that's an important word, not may, but shall, promulgate rules and regulations that shall include guidelines and procedures on the placement of sex offenders designated as level 2 or level 3 offenders pursuant to Article 6C of this chapter. Such regulations shall provide instruction on certain factors to be considered when investigating and approving the residence of level 2 or level 3 sex offenders released on presumptive release, parole, conditional release, or post-release supervision. Such factors shall include the following. This is the key. This is why we are so upset today. It has been 7 years we have been waiting for the commissioner to get the job done, to release these rules and regulations. Why? Because we put these factors in here. Number 1, the location of other sex offenders required to register under the Sex Offender Registration Act. Specifically, whether there is a concentration of registered sex offenders in a certain residential area or municipality. The second factor, the number of registered sex offenders residing at a particular property. Those were the top 2 factors we asked the commissioner to take into consideration when setting these rules and regulations. 7 years later, we are still waiting. Because of the commissioner's inaction, we have people that are suffering. In Bellport, we had on Walker Avenue, a house with 10 level 3 offenders in one house. We have a situation in the Shirley community right now where we have a family, the Gritz family, who is living next door to no less than 5 convicted sex offenders. I'd like you to hear their story. So Jennifer, Tom, if you could come up and say a few words. I completely put them on the spot, by the way. She didn't think she'd have to talk.
It's just unrealistic to have 5 registered sex offenders in one house. And I don't let my 10-year-old son out without supervision. He doesn't even like to go to the mailbox without anybody watching him. He doesn't ride his bike up and down the street. It's just enough already. It's just time to put it on the books that maybe 2 people, maybe 3, but not 5. It's just overwhelming. And then we don't even go out that much. I mean, we do our yard work and stuff like that, but it's just, I don't know. This was supposed to be our dream home, and I don't know.
We moved in 2004, and you know what? Most of the neighbors are great. We haven't had problems with anybody except this house next door. It's a revolving door. If it isn't these sex offenders, he moves them out. 2 days later, new ones are moved in. There's no justice. The police will come, the police leave. There's nothing else I can say. You know, it's sad that I have a 10-year-old that can't go outside and ride his bicycle, can't have friends over, can't be in the backyard alone because of stuff that's said, that comments are made, the language. What kind of life is this? You know, I understand it was my choice to buy there, but who's protecting the rights of my 10-year-old?
Thank you.
Thank you. That could be any one of us. That could be anyone in New York right now, because the commissioner of docks has not done his job. So I hope he's listening right now, because if he is, here's the message from us to you. Either do your job and put these rules and regulations in place and release them, or resign. We need someone who will do the job, period. With that, I'll take any questions.
So, bill that passed the Senate, what exactly has been the holdup in the Assembly? Is there specific concerns that members of the Democratic Assembly have raised?
It's been leadership in the Democratic Assembly, but you have to ask yourself this: why would they hold it up when it passed the Senate 62-1? That's overwhelming bipartisan support. These are common sense pieces of legislation that are being held up in the Corrections Committee, and you'd have to ask the Speaker why. I mean, is it because I have the wrong letter behind my name? That shouldn't matter. In this day and age, we've got to work together across party lines to protect the people that we represent, to do the right thing. So I'd love to hear the explanation from the Speaker as to why they will not let it out of committee and to the floor for a full up or down vote. Again, this is a bill that passed 62-1 in the Senate.
And what, based upon your studying the issue, what is a reasonable restriction? What is the reasonable limitation? Do you guys have ideas in mind, or are you just going to put it in the hands of or currency alone, or do you not have ideas in mind about what is those limitations?
Sure, and they're included in the bill. There are certain reasonable restrictions that are included in the language of the bill, but Steve Ballone, the county executive, and our county legislators have been pushing for the Child Victims Act, or the Child Protection Act. The problem with this is that was a reasonable bill. I supported it, everyone supports it. The problem is, unless the state takes action, the Child Protection Act cannot move forward because it includes residency restrictions. I don't know what the problem is with the Assembly leadership and not wanting to set reasonable restrictions, but we think we've done a good job in balancing what the judge said in his ruling with what is needed on the county level. And remember, we have 62 counties in this state. We are a very diverse state, which is why we want to make sure that the counties have the authority and the power to set these reasonable restrictions. We put parameters in the bill, but there is room for the county to decide what is reasonable.